Hello, dear viewer. Welcome to Jason's Other Podcast. What that means is that this is the one where I just talk about whatever I want to talk about. I say whatever I want to say, and I do anything. I'm not worried about if it's digestible or accessible. The other one, I really do my best to make it easy for the viewer to catch their interest, do all that sort of stuff. Don't do anything that's going to confuse them to where they don't enjoy what's going on, anything like that. But that ain't here. This is my other podcast, Jason's Other Podcast. And I ask you, dear viewer, search your soul. I ask you, dear viewer, search your soul for what you know to be true. Okay, what I want to talk about, I'm drinking, it's about my favorite whiskey. So this is a kick I'm on now anyway, George Dickel. I'm drinking it in the form of cocktails. It's Friday Night Cocktails here at Jason's Other Podcast. This is one of my drinking shirts. So yeah, I'm wearing one of my drinking shirts, and I am drinking a cocktail, which is grapefruit juice and bourbon. That's a different liquor. It's a different hard liquor. This is grapefruit juice and really George Dickel, but really Tennessee whiskey. But George Dickel really is what I make it out of. Anyway, enough about that. Enough about that jazz. That's pretty. Just kidding. Okay, so I made a pizza tonight, and I screwed it up. The pizza idea is a good one. So I just went to Papa Murphy's, and I bought, just had cheese, just regular cheese, and took it home, original crust, all that, just the plainest cheese pizza you could get. Took it home, fried up some bacon, then chopped that bacon up, put that on there, and I tried to cover it in like little bits of bacon, and then put whole pieces of bacon so you could see the bacon on there, on top of it, and then cracked like 3 eggs on top of it. Put it in the oven, and I'd done something like this before, but this didn't come out. Last time it was pretty good. This time it really didn't come out as that good of a pizza. A major thing I did wrong was didn't turn it up hot enough initially, and then let it sit for a long time, and then finally, man, this pizza's not getting baked. Double check, look at the temperatures and everything, and realize I didn't have the oven hot enough. So now it's half baked slow. I turn it up to the right temperature. I know it's not going to come out. Very likely this pizza's not going to come out very well after having done that. And it was all sorts of disasters. The eggs were still runny while the crust was pretty much ready to come out in most places. And I also learned, so don't do that, which I already knew, but also I learned those lines of bacon are gross, because I did eat it, and when I was hungry, the first piece or two actually was pretty good. But those long strings of bacon on there just make it so that what you're eating really tastes of bacon, which is fine, but I don't want to always sit down and chug a bowl of bacon. What I mean, but the bacon flavor is great, but not as pizza, part of the pizza. When it just becomes only taste of bacon, for me, it was too much bacon. But that's only where those slices were. And then I learned then to take the slices off much better. So when I do it again, I'm not gonna bother with any slices. Just put bacon on like you would if you were making a pizza, as you ordered bacon. It was one of the ingredients, just as flakes of like basically bacon bits almost. Bacon bits out of a little bit bigger than that's fine, but made out of real bacon, chopped up, put on there. And then the cracking the egg thing, I got to experiment with that. I have gotten it to work, and I've eaten in a restaurant that did that. It was delicious. What kind of egg would be ideal? How could you get it? I think if you could get it over easy on the pizza, that would be good. I don't really know how to do that. When I succeeded before, it was hard. It was just over hard would have been the consistency, or sunny side up hard, basically was what the consistency was, or what it was, I guess, kind of egg it was. And that was good, really good. But I think the ultimate would be have it sunny, not like sunny side up, with a good yolk, or like over easy with a good yolk, but then have none of the white. have none of the white be runny. This one, some of the white was runny, which just didn't really make for the best pizza at all. Made for a yucko kind of experience. But anyway, this one, as soon as I screwed that temperature up, I knew it was going weird places. And I learned a lot, and I've done pizza like this before. So I'll do pizza, I'll make another one, and it'll be much better. So I learned some things. I've watched a little bit of Olympic boxing, and man, it feels good to be watching amateur boxing. I had forgotten just how different those two things are. I don't want to say they're different sports, because they ain't. Amateur boxing and professional boxing are both the sport of boxing. You are 100% watching boxing when you watch either of those. But amateur boxing, anyway, I just hadn't watched it in a long time, and I like it a lot. I'm not going to try and really nail down a lot of specific differences about how different tactics work. I'll say one big thing is there's much less emphasis on power. Power never hurts. It's like social skills and money. One of those things that the more you got, it's never bad to have more of, right? But so power definitely is part of the amateur game, but it's just not emphasized as much as it is in professional boxing. It's not as much of it's less often really it's just less emphasized, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I remember in my hometown, the boxing gym, they had the head of that boxing gym, the head coach, in the newspaper, and they interviewed him, and they asked him, is boxing unethical? And his answer was, amateur boxing, not unethical. Professional boxing might be unethical. And that's how he answered it, whether the sport of boxing was ethical or not, or rather not unethical. Just an interesting tidbit. One thing specific that I really noticed about amateur boxing, and this was before I was even on the Olympics, is what I'm watching. Because my university that I'm an alma mater at, that word is alma mater, alumni at that university, they have a boxing club, and I love it. I've met some of the people, but never at their gym, which I guess would be some university building or something, probably that's just the university athletic places. But I don't know that. I'm just thinking, but that ain't the point anyway. But I haven't seen that local. Well, one thing I love about that club is I talked about starting it years ago when I was a student there. I found out this guy was an amateur boxer, and I went and talked to him. I said, man, I'm going to talk to you even though the end of this conversation is probably that we don't do it. I just want to bring it up, man, and we could talk about it for a second. Do you think it would be in any way a good idea that you and me would start an intramural boxing club? And we did talk about it. We both decided we had so much work to do as students, and that had to be priority one, that we didn't have time to be starting sports clubs. So we didn't start that club. But somebody else later down the line, after I had graduated and gone, did start an intramural university boxing club. And so just for that fact, I love them off of that. But I'd never seen any of them fight. I just met a couple of them as a person at a different gym. But where was I at? So I watched somebody from that club, one of their fights. That kind of got me on the amateur boxing thing before the Olympics were just starting, and I saw a standing 8 count. Blew my mind because you really don't see that in professional boxing. It's in the rules. It could happen, and it has happened. I'm sure you can make a playlist of standing 8 counts, but it's not something you're going to see really ever, if often, very rare. But in amateur boxing, man, you will see standing 8 counts, and I love them because I've participated in standing 8 counts. As an athlete, I boxed in my tender years, ages 18 and 19. I was a boxer, and I'm trying to say the right way. I've experienced standing 8 counts as the one getting them. I know what it's like. And so to see that actually happen in an amateur round one of this amateur fight I watched, which was somebody from my university, from their club, they took a stand. They got whacked, and so they were in a standing 8 count. Just really brought back memories, and it's not something I would have saw in professional boxing. And so standing 8 count is just when you get rocked and you're not throwing back. When you're hurt, not even if you're hurt. It's when you're in a position to get hurt. If what you're doing, where you're standing, and all this, the next, you're gonna get hurt. Boom, that's a standing 8 count. And so the ref just steps in between two upright boxers. Nobody's fallen. Nobody's even stumbled a little bit. They don't have to. They just whatever the ref deems somebody's taking too much abuse, can step in. Boom, standing 8 count. That's equivalent to being knocked down. So 3 standing 8 counts would have you out for that round. I don't even remember the 3 knockdown rule as part of amateur boxing. I don't remember. I never got knocked down that way. That fight that I was taking that fight I took 2 standing 8 counts. No, more 3. I think I took 2 in the first round, 1 in the second round, and then I lost by TKO because the ref stepped in and waved it off. He's ended the fight. I think it was round 3, but I can't. No, I think round 2. No, round 2. Yeah. That was when I lost by TKO. The only time I lost by knockout. TKO. That was my first fight. But anyway, so that's a standing 8 count. And in amateur boxing, a lot of refs are very quick to give those standing 8 counts. They want to see a fighter throwing back, answering back, not standing there taking it. So some of them, and refs differ, but some of them refs are quick with that standing 8 count. Boom! So you don't want to get them. If you will now, dear viewer, take a moment of mindfulness with me. We're going to take 5 breaths. Inhale, and then just say to yourself the number 5, then 4, 3, or say out loud, whatever drives you, but that's a number meditation, and we're just going to do 5 breaths. So please, if you would, join me in this, and we'll wrap up the podcast. 5. Now inhale. 4. 3. 2. 3 things I'm grateful for. I'm very grateful that the sun and weather's been nice. I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head, and I'm grateful that I've been enjoying learning more about coding. Goodbye, dear viewer. Please watch the next episode.